What is up, y'all? We are back. Today I am in the parked position here in Bonita Springs, and I wanted to jump on here and check in with you guys and talk about having the ability to change, accepting change, and embracing change in your life. Now, what's been going on with me recently? Check it out, y'all. I got my hair cut for the first time in almost 3 months. If you know anything about TSW, when it's on your ears and your neck and kind of the back of your head, you don't want anybody messing with your ears. So a lot of people go a long time without a haircut. I was able to get in yesterday, and now I'm back to Bravo B. Come on, you know me, got the glasses. So, I'm just making women fall down everywhere I go right now. But want to talk about change, because change in life is inevitable, and it can be a very difficult thing for people. And I've gone through a lot of changes in the last 5 to 10 years. Changes personally, changes in my philosophy in life, changes in my business, all things like that. And what happens is when you fight against change, something that's inevitable, that has to happen, what happens is down the line, that change is going to happen. And because you didn't embrace it, because you didn't accept it and figure out what you could do to make the change easier or make the transition or whatever it might be happen more in your favor by accepting it and figuring out which way to go, when you fight against it and that change inevitably happens, it's a lot messier than it needed to be. There's a lot more just stuff in between the black and white that has to be sorted through, and that's never a good thing. So embracing change, can be your change in your job. It can be a change in a policy in your business. It could be a change in terms of getting healthy with your life. And it can also be a change in your mindset. And this is something that I've had to work very hard on over the last 5, 6, 7 years, is changing my mindset, because I'm very wired to have a negative mindset. It's just part of it is my upbringing. I can look at the people in my family and kind of see where I picked up some of those traits. Some of it has to do with growing up with OCD and anxiety and not being able to kind of compartmentalize the anxiety and just being afraid a lot of the times. But I've worked very hard to change that mindset, and really change that mindset in terms of change the way that I act and react to things. That's a big thing. My wife and I have been doing like a weekly meeting every week, where when the kids are in bed, we sit down with our notebook and we talk about the last week, the things that went well, the things that we've talked about wanting to work on, how has that been going. And I'm actually starting to see a change for the better also in the way that I interact with my wife. We're not perfect. We have stresses. We have these things that we carry with us, and oftentimes we dump them on our significant other. And it'll just become a habit to where, you react in these negative ways when you don't even realize why you're doing it. It's just a habit. So being able to really navigate your mind and in the present, think about how you're feeling and how you're going to react, because it's easy to look back and do that. But to do that in the present, that's when you know that you're making real changes, real neurological changes in your brain that, if you continue to go down that pattern, will change for the better. So just being able to embrace change and look at change and look at these situations in your life and say to yourself, okay, what was in my control and what was out of my control? And then the only thing that I'm going to focus on is what is within my control. And if you have the ability to do that, you're going to wipe out 80 to 90% of the anxiety, because we're not going to focus on the things we cannot control, only the things we can control. And if we're able to do those things that we know we can control, how is that going to make my outcome better? These are things that I'm really starting to think about these days. And then whenever there's a troubling situation that happens, it's not going to happen. It's not an event that we need to go figure something out. It happened. Kind of like my TSW. Very unfortunate, very wow, you're angry, you want to blame somebody. You want to say, those doctors, they're the ones that did this. Well, you're a grown man, and you decided to use those steroid creams for however long you did. So what I'm looking at is, hey, what did I do? How did I contribute to this situation unfolding? What were those patterns that I'm finding in my life that are happening? How do I find myself in this situation again and again? Well, these are the things that I know that I did that helped me to fall into this situation. So I'm going to make sure that I don't do those negative, or they're not even negative. Sometimes they're just like habitual things that you do, almost for me, almost like obsessively, that I'll do that can wind me up into a negative situation. Like, for instance, I was in the doctor the day that they prescribed those creams for, because I have allergies, so just seasonal allergies. So they do some tests to figure out what's the best, over-the-counter medicine for you to take. At that time, I was having some issues with like hay fever. Like, I'd cough a lot, and I wasn't sick. It would just be in my chest. So we were getting that figured out. But then I had these little itchy patches on my skin, like little dermatitis. And instead of doing all of the other things first, like trying to moisturize and maybe doing some sea salt baths, like finding holistic medicine, I went straight to solve the problem. If I have an issue, I'm going to be in control and I'm going to solve this problem. They give me the cream, I put it on, it fixes it. Now I'm in control. So I'm like trying to control the way that I feel. And even in terms of like a dermatitis, almost too much. Like, I need a fix and I need it now. And that ends me up in these situations that are sometimes maybe avoidable, or that we can go another route before we end up where we end up first. So not to run to those solutions first. So being able to look at yourself and look at your whole life and say, what are the things in my life that I'm happy with and that I'm not happy with? And then being able to change your behaviors that helped you get into the situations that you're not happy with. Because I'm going to tell you, it's not always somebody else's fault. It's not him or her or what somebody said or somebody didn't give you what you deserve. That's not life. Life is what you make it, and the decisions that you make that create your life. I truly believe everybody, for the most part, is in the situation that the last 10 years has brought them to. So myself included, with the topical steroid withdrawal, with having to overcome injuries, and with dealing with OCD and anxiety, because for the last 10 years, I didn't always address my OCD and anxiety correctly. So it kind of spiraled and built into this bigger thing than it ever had to do if I started to regulate my behaviors more. So just something that's been on my mind, I wanted to talk about, because change happens. You cannot stop it, and it's best to embrace it and figure out how I can use this change to benefit me the best. I love you all so much. I want to let you know we got out and donated. I don't know if I said this on the last video, but I donated $200 to my daughter's school. It's a small school. It's funded mainly by the state through grants, and then by the students' parents. So it was big for them to receive that donation. So that's where that went. We are almost to 1,000 subscribers, which is like amazing. When we get to 1,000 subscribers, I will go out and donate another $100 in my community to an organization that does good. But I am not going to donate that $100 until I get some comments of some organizations that you feel that this money should go to. I know there's some people in Southwest Florida. Let me know what you think. When we get to 1,000 subscribers, we will donate that $100. Hope you all have a good day. God bless.